taller.
I feel really tall. And I've got boots on, so I'm extra tall. Woo. So, welcome to open mic number 46. Woo. So we're having our 50th at the end of the year. So, for those, I think I've met everyone. My name is Blaise from Busybird Publishing. Kev is on the camera, so he's going to be videoing everyone's pieces. If you don't want to be on YouTube, can you please tell him? Les up the back is going to be timing. So we have, why is Oscar's name here? We have, that's one less person. 5 minutes each tonight. So, for those of you who haven't been here before, you will have put your name down, but I don't necessarily follow that order because it depends on what we have. So I like to mix it up. So, just be aware when you're coming up, there is a step up onto the stage now, so just be careful. We are going to put little lights around it so you can see eventually. So I'm going to start with some announcements. First one is, this is a sneak peek because this is not actually out yet. This is Les's next book, published by Pantera Press. It's going to be launched officially on Saturday the 2nd of September at 10 a.m. as part of the Melbourne Writers' Festival in a bar in Fed Square. The bar is called something Grill.
Beer Deluxe, isn't it?
Beer Deluxe, which is upstairs from some grill bar, I think.
Fed Square, everyone.
It's in Fed Square. Anyway. Are you going to read something from this tonight, please?
No, I'll stick to my spot.
So next month, so you have to come back next month because this is going to be the door prize. But this is literally, Les got some advanced copies, so they are like hot off the press and top secret. If you want to have a little sneak peek, you can. This is also hot off the press. It actually arrived today from the printer. And we're launching this on Saturday here, so everyone is welcome to attend the launch at 3 o'clock. This is our door prize tonight, a copy of this. So it's about how to keep a healthy body. Okay, first reader. Dun, dun. Yes?
You also add Richard to the
Yes,
list.
hi Richard.
And Dara Lillian.
So, at the 4.5 minute mark, Les is going to ding the bell. So you have 30 minutes left. 30 seconds, I should say. Please not 30 minutes. 30 seconds. And then he will double ding when time is up. You can finish your sentence, but please don't keep reading, because that's unfair to all the other readers.
Please, can you just warn Oscar?
Yeah, so Oscar, the failed seeing eye dog, is wandering around. We're sort of experimenting. He hasn't been to open mic night for a while because the last time he came, wine was spilled everywhere. He barked when we were trying to read. So we're just seeing if he's
mature.
Good behaviour. We'll see how mature he is. He seems to be okay. But watch your wine if he comes near you. And if you have any food, watch that too because he eats everything, including plastic pot plants. So, yeah, just keep an eye on that. So, the first reader, we will start with... It's cool, we've got some new readers tonight. I'm going to start with Joan.
She's a new reader.
Well, there have been a lot of differences since I was here.
Is there? It's good to have you back. I'm just trying to make this not so in your face. Is that good?
Oh, I brought the wrong ones. Oh, well, never mind. Before I start reading, I have brought some of my children's poetry books for you to have a look at. I've got a second edition now. So mistakes, achievements must needs be yours alone. But my accumulated wisdom I would offer you. My love is but a springboard for your dreams. Their ultimate success is in your hands. Your life crescendo echoes my decline. But with you shall go my everlasting prayers. I wait for you in eternity. Your Nana Joe.
Thanks, Jane. Claire Cofield is going to read an extract from her book, Resilience Through Adversity. Now just bear with us while we come down. It's a long way from the back.
That's all right. Oh, made it. Good. Hello, everybody. Hello. You have no idea how happy I am to be here tonight. I'd like to read from a book that's coming out in a couple of months' time, where I've got one chapter, so it's a compilation book. And my chapter is called Resilience Through Adversity. Imagine having a stroke while delivering a coaching talk on goal setting and how our brain can help us. I had no idea I was bleeding into my brain. I just felt my usual excitement when presenting and kept talking as my speech was mercifully unaffected. Fortunately for me, Joel, a doctor, and my daughter-in-law was in the audience and immediately called an ambulance. Unknown to me, the prognosis was very uncertain for the next 48 hours. So my poor family had to wait and see if I would survive. The next morning when I woke up, I had complete right side paralysis. My leg felt alien, bloated, abnormal. You know, like your face after you've been to the dentist and you've had a local anaesthetic? My arm was like a floppy doll's. I just cried and cried, and then I cried some more. I think both from the shock of this unexpected event and the extent of the paralysis, this simple approach was, I aligned my self-talk with how I treated my little granddaughters. Why not afford this type of love to myself? So I started lifting my floppy right arm and stroking it with the other one, lifting it up and kissing it with love, with compassion, with gentleness and encouragement, and saying, don't worry, my darling, you'll be all right, sweetheart, we'll get through this together. So with that strategy of powerful self-talk, I started my recovery, and 20 months later, here I am tonight. Thank you. Thank you, that's lovely, yes.
Thanks, Claire, that's great. When's the book going to be out?
Oh, a couple of months?
Yeah?
Yeah, not long now.
You'll let us know and then we can tell everybody.
Oh yes, thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Belle. Heidi. Belle is going to read a short story called Secrets.
This is the start of a short story. Every evening, between supper and bed, Evelyn composes a list of commandments. The number of items is never exactly 10, and only rarely does it repeat from one day to the next. Fewer than 5 items are apt to cause vertigo and a peculiar shortness of breath, strangely reminiscent of a suffocating fish. Any more than 20 brings on migraine, as if the mass drums are conducting band practice across her not-so-elastic tympanic membranes. A glance at her list for the following day, a Saturday as it happens, shows her weekly encounter with Thomas as item number 1. At 10 a.m, she'll greet him at the door, purse in hand. Hauling her groceries to the kitchen, he'll ask her how her arthritis has been. She'll bob in his wake and lie about how good she's feeling, despite that cold snap. He'll wink and she'll blush, before handing over the exact money required to pay the bill he'll leave on her counter. On his way out, she'll wish him a not too exciting week, and he'll answer with a wag of his index finger. The details of her bi-weekly trek to the bakery 3 blocks up the road forms item number 2. Aside from the ongoing commiseration she shares with Tess, the cashier, whom Evelyn thinks of as a younger, prettier and less virginal version of herself, over her fluctuating, once even affording himself entry into her living room, where he began to take too keen an olfactory interest in her furniture. Between the time at which her dying mother imparted the secret to her care and this evening, Evelyn has rarely encountered a soul not entered on her list for the day, and never before has she been confronted by a personage or personages not known at all in her commandments. Which is why, when a couple of agents break into her room and demand to know where her hiding place is, her gaze slips of its own accord toward the antique armoire cowering in the far corner of her living room.
I got in there, and I did this on purpose. I got dressed, not quite right, so as soon as I walk in, somebody said, "What are you doing here?" I said, "I'm performing." He said, "No, you're not." I said, "I am." He said, "No, you haven't got the right attire." I said, "But I didn't. Nobody told me." But of course I had the clothes in the car. So he said, "Oh look, I'll find a suit for you," which he did. So at the end of the night I went back in the car and I got changed. And he said, "You put me through hell for nothing." So this is my warped sense of humour. Memories. From dark till light, entwined like 2 young teenagers at their first encounter, we sat on the park bench. What did we do? I cannot remember fully. Only a vague memory of fireworks in the night and the distant sound of the brass band. But I do remember we woke up very tired and a big smile on our face. There is a place with no space for breathing, no light or living, no path remains. You have gone in a distance that once held us close. I wrote this in a rocky mountain with my companion, an expert climber. She throws on me. So, but there's nothing to do with it. So instead of worrying, I write a poem. That's me. I bought a ray of sunshine. I bought it just for you. But the moon, as jealous as ever, would not let that I take it with me. So I live in a room of darkness, searching in vain for you, wondering if ever it did happen, and if ever it was true. So I bought a ray of sunshine. I bought it only for us, and the moon smiling at me saying, "Stupid, yes, it was true."
Thanks, Marcello. Now, Robin Miller has some advice for men, apparently.
Right.
So I was walking out the door tonight, my wife said, "You better read this one, it's quite funny." It's not something that either of us wrote, but it was from an American chap. Only a man would attempt this. It was a guy who purchased his wife a pocket taser for their anniversary. Last weekend I saw something in Larry's pawn and pistol shop that sparked my interest. The occasion was our 15th wedding anniversary and I was looking for a little something extra for my wife, Julie. What I came across was a 100,000 volt pocket-sized taser. The effects of the taser were supposed to be short-lived, with no long-term adverse effect on your assailant, allowing the victim adequate time to retreat to safety. Too cool. To cut long story short, I bought the device and brought it home. I loaded 2 AAA batteries in the darn thing and pushed the button. Nothing. I was disappointed. I learned, however, that if I pushed the button and pressed it against a metal surface at the same time, I get the blue arc of electricity darting back and forth between the prongs. Awesome. Unfortunately, I've yet to explain to Julie what that burn spot is on the face of her microwave. Okay, so I was home alone with this new toy, thinking to myself that it couldn't be all that bad with only 2 AAA batteries, right? There I sat in my recliner, my cat Gracie, looking on intently, trusting little soul, while I was reading the directions, and thinking that I really needed to try this thing out on a flesh and blood moving target. I must admit I thought about zapping Gracie, for a fraction of a second, and thought better of it. She's such a sweet cat. But if I was going to give this thing to my wife to protect herself against a mugger, I did want some assurance that it would work as advertised. Was I wrong? So there I sat in a pair of shorts and a tank top, with my reading glasses perched delicately on the bridge of my nose, directions in one hand and a taser in another. I had my shorts. It was too numb to know for sure. And my sense of smell was gone. I saw a faint smoke cloud above my head, which I believe came from my hair. I'm still looking for my testicles. And I'm offering a significant reward for their safe return. Yes, my wife cannot stop laughing about my experience. Loved the gift and now regularly threatens me with it. If you think education is difficult, try being stupid.
Okay, who wants to follow that? We might go, I see there's a song here, Carol.
I knew you were going to do that because who else could follow a story and who would want to? My God, the composure necessary. But I'll give it a go. I notice the dog escorts everyone up the stage. Have you noticed that?
Yeah.
Trying not to electrocute myself after that story here. I think I mentioned last time that I've been a performer for about 30 years, a vocalist entertainer. And when I was a fledgling performer, I moved to the Gold Coast to try my luck there. And that was in 1993. And that year I happened to see a beautiful video of Liza Minnelli at Radio City Hall. It was a magnificent cabaret show, and it was then that I knew that my great love was cabaret and jazz. And it took me 11 years, but I had a big band show created and written, which took a lot of blood, sweat and tears. And eventually I performed it. And I'd like to sing one of the songs that I selected. The show was showcasing a lot of songs by the famous cabaret artists, the jazz artists, and the beautiful composers. So this one is a Gershwin tune, very famous Gershwin tune. And I wanted to sing this has been in my head for a long time. To my heart he'll carry the key. Won't you tell him please to put on find some speed, follow my lead. Oh, how I need someone to watch over me. I need someone to watch over me. Of any audience I've ever had.
Did you say that?
Very, very kind.
The Oscar thought was Pamela. Pamela's going to read some of her memoir, Farewell Madrid.
I'll just tell you, when I was in Madrid in the show with the South Americans, I went out with one of the musicians in the show, and it was fabulous. We went out for about a year, and then he jilted me. And then I met a very ordinary Spanish guy, and I'll take it from there. And he took me to his home. Mama and Jose took me to the yard, where a stew of chorizo, sausage and vegetables simmered in a big earthenware pot on an open fire. Delicious! And Mama told me she made her own soap. Washing was hanging on the line, but the view of Madrid in the distance over the hills was magical. And we returned several times on my day off to a wonderful welcome. As long as Jose was happy, Mama was content. After several visits, Mama stated scornfully, "Pamela, you mini skirt no good," and pointed to the length of her skirt. "Please, long skirt. No mini skirt." Horrified, I didn't reply, and told Jose when we returned to the pension. It didn't seem to bother him. "Mama is old. You will come back." "Yes, I will." There was sadness in his eyes, and he knew he couldn't stop me. I wrote to Mother telling her of my imminent return with no fixed date. The show lacked the vitality of Violetta, and several young Spanish dancers who'd been engaged were lacking in technique. It was easy to find another girl to take my place, but rehearsing her to the standard required took 3 times longer, delaying my departure. At the pension I said goodbye, telling them I'd return but didn't know when. With guitar, suitcase and wig box ready, I hugged him one last time as I glanced around the room. He'd take the television to his parents. He'd be thrilled to own one. "Don't come with me to the station, Jose," I implored him. "It's too stressful." Tears in his eyes, he agreed. The taxi came, and I left.
Breakout.
I got jilted.
Well, I'm not making that up.
No, by the other one.
Noni's going to read an extract. I'll let you explain what that is.
Oscar.
Well, this I was a part of the Docklands newspapers to write short stories for them going back 6 years ago, and this the editor said that let's do something, people I've met, places I've been and things I've seen. So this is actually a true story, which is called The Randomness of Melbourne in Love. And it is a true story. I met a taxi driver, and you wouldn't know. It's like 1 in a million chance that happens in the end. You'll come to know. So we defy nature against all odds to find love. But what is love? Do we know it yet, or do we all hang somewhere between the dictionary meaning of love and our being asked and perhaps seen me more clearly than I had seen myself? Had I been summoned to quantum my own feelings, was I asking the same question myself? I reached my destination and wished him good luck, and didn't even check the dashboard for his name. I'll never forget that cab driver. I don't remember his face, but that's not important. What is important is the intermittent connection that the universe sends to us, a messenger, teacher, or a guide. For me, it was the cab driver. That's the way we are. Love drives Melbourne and the cab drivers and passengers. 4 weeks later, I'm on a plane to India. Who would guess the passenger by my side is the taxi driver? This time I asked him a question. What is your name?
He's going to read a poem. Have I pronounced your name correctly? Yes. Yes? Come on up. Serena is going to read This Modern World.
Oh gosh, hello. Hi, I'm Zarina. I wrote this poem quite a few years ago now. It's about my fears of the modern world, my experience of the modern world, and my love of travel, because when I wrote this poem I was kind of going through a time where I really just wanted to get out into the world and experience it. So the poem is called This Modern World. Will I go far? Will I go near? Will I be different by this time next year? I seek and I search for some kind of meaning, hiding in bed, YouTube constantly streaming. I feel I need change, life is passing me by, but the harder I work and the harder I try, the clearer it is that the system is some kind of lie. I think to myself, all alone in this room, hiding inside until way past noon, what can I do to be a part of the conscious? How do I find people who don't want catch-up lunches? The army of fakes, the sensationalized news, the likes and the comments, the booze and the shoes. Who else feels like shouting, wake up, look around, stop listening to playlists, it's not the only sound. It makes me upset to find I'm starting to mimic the people I fear, collecting tacky home trinkets, filling my space with junk from the net, needing to have the perfect makeup set. Fighting the urge to get up and leave seems to have killed something special that I need to retrieve. Travel, it seems, is calling me softly. In this modern world, it's hard to hear properly. I slow down and listen to the sound of the air that moves in and out without me having to care. Where do I go and who shall I be? In what direction is the world sending me? Wherever I want, of course, it's all up to me. If I want to be wild and I want to be free, then it's time to be brave and time to be bold. It's time to live life before getting old. The winds of my mind blow this way and that. Should I meditate in Nepal or help farm in Gujarat? Hush now, just go and remember to stand tall. If you are truly inspired, you will see it all.
Wow. Thanks, Serena. Nice to have you here. Gay. Gay's going to read some poetry. I'm assuming. Yes. Yes.
It's going to be exciting and going to be really cool. We'll go to all everybody.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, glasses. Great. It's funny, Joan, because I was thinking along the same lines. We must be both thinking about all our requests to our grandchildren when we cark it. But I'm much less modest than you. I'm demanding quite a lot of things, actually. And I'll read the poem first and then I'll let you know. This is called My Great Wake. This little poem is to be put aside to be opened by family after I've died. These instructions are to be strictly kept. No small spaces, I need an above ground crypt. And just in case I'm really not dead, I want a mobile phone and a light overhead. The church service needs to be just so neat. I've noted the hymns I want on the service sheet.
I'm so pleased about the photos I've decided to put in. They've all been touched up, so I look super slim. I'm leaving the church, Hey Big Spender will play. Of course it will play in the loudest possible way. And outside motorbikes will take me in tow, and with a roar of the engines off we'll go. Meanwhile there'll be afternoon tea in the hall, there'll be sandwiches, slices, cream cakes and all. You best watch the kids around the cake. On second thoughts, no, just let them enjoy my great wake. And I've got a picture of myself when I was very slim in my bathers, and it's going to be stuck to the coffin with a little note saying, see, I wasn't always fat. And my son says that I won't have, what is it that I'm going to have? Hey Big Spender. He said, won't happen, Mum. He said, you won't be there. So. And the other poem I'd like to talk about is technology, ageing and me. Anything to do with technology, I'm really, really bad. People don't believe me, but the other night I sent an email for a person in another poetry group I go to, and he asked me if I float in the air, and I can see it all so clearly now, still going on. Yes, I can see it all so clearly now. Where has it gone? Yeah. Sorry, I've got a tickle in my throat. As I grew older, I had to roam, far from my family, far from my home, into the city where I had to walk. I'm losing the plot. Into the city where lives can be spent, lost in the shadows of tar and cement. Into the city where I had my eye on all the treasures money can buy. And every night I'd sit alone and learn what loneliness meant. Up in my rented room above the world of tar and cement. Each day I'd wake up, look at the sky, think of the meadows where I used to lie. Then I'd remember all that's gone. You're in the city, better rush on. Get what you came for before it's too late. Get what you came for, the meadows can wait. And I'll leave it at that. Thank you.
Bill is going to read a shortish story. Welcome, Bill.
It's got the map of Montmorency. This is actually a backstory. It wasn't always backstory. In fact, it was just a story until I wrote the front story. And it's called The Adventures of Trunk. Truncated proboscis waving repositioned his 8 legs and peered cautiously out from under the mottled, broken skin of his home. The skin of his eucalypt had been cracking and peeling for a month now, and Trunk was mightily worried it might be contagious. He had seen some of his relatives' skins crack and peel like this, and had come upon their still forms in the twilight. Uncle, he would say, consumed any interesting insects lately. After a time he would realise that Uncle was now a hollow shell, a dark, dry, cracked, cavernous shell. Where had Uncle gone? Certainly a much bigger version of Uncle had suddenly appeared. He could have spent his free time observing the walking trees who inhabited one of the small mountains nearby, instead of devising new mating rituals. Unknown to the Holy One, these walking trees, being public servants, had solved the so-called work-life balance question. Had the Holy One been able to converse with the public servants, he would have discovered that the gainful employment required by family responsibilities could be massaged and modified so as to be hardly onerous at all. And he would have discovered the delights of upper level management, and the biggest discovery of all, delegation. After all, being a self-absorbed narcissist, the Holy One had just the credentials needed to be a senior manager. He could have maintained his status as a know-all, a status that would have been enhanced once it became common knowledge he could survive mating at will. Yes, it was a great pity that he had contracted post-traumatic stress disorder from his much bigger and more domineering mates, and the demands of family life for which males were so ill-equipped, and had become a ravenous female's lunch.
Marie is going to read some poetry and short story. Welcome.
I'll start by speaking about fantastic dragons. So around 2013 I was teaching literacy, and I received a grant from Northern Grampians, and as a result the students put together some poetry, and I spent about 8 months researching dragons and everything, and it's a sensational book. It's online, so it's available on Google Books and Google Play. I have retold the Willow Pattern story, if everyone knows about Willow Pattern China, so I'll just read from my story, which is of course a worldwide story. The story painted on Willow Pattern China tells of 2 tragic lovers, Kunsi, a beautiful maiden from a wealthy family, and Chang, a talented but poor scribe. The story is said to be over 1,000 years old and is popular all around the world. Kunsi loved Chang. She watched him working from the doorway. Chang would write many letters for her father. Sometimes he smiled at her, his dark eyes dancing. First Chang made ink, then he picked up his bamboo brush and carefully drew the Mandarin characters onto the crisp paper. Chang left the letters on the desk. On his way past, he gave Kunsi a silk poem with a sprig of peach blossom. The breeze frees the blossoms, but as I pass beneath the peach trees in your father's orchard, I think only of the blooms on your cheeks and when we may next meet. Kunsi's old father walked into the room a moment later. He glanced at the silk poem in Kunsi's hand. He gazed at the sprig of blossom and he glared at Chang. Kunsi's maid said, "You must meet Chang in the garden." She stared out at the tiled rooftops. Beyond the orchard, the river flowed. How she longed to be as free as the ripples of the water. She turned around, that mean face was not there. Kunsi returned to her room. She crept into Mean Face's room. She found the servant's uniform in the cupboard and put it on. Then she walked downstairs and out into the garden. Chang was hiding in the courtyard. They crept across the bridge and away into the shadow of the willow trees. And then they became like the birds in the willow pattern china. And so when we look at the willow pattern china, we can recall the story of Chang and Kunsi. All right. Just one thing, the main thing about retelling a story is getting it wrong. So that's why it's my version.
Steve. Steve is going to read An Evening at the Band Part 2.
Continuation of the chapter I read last time, and from my novel, which deals with the main character is Peter MacDonald, who's a married father of 6 living in Dublin, Ireland, and he somehow gets embroiled with the election of the Pope. But at the end, he's actually going to in this chapter, he's going to the pub to relax, to catch up with some of his mates. He's a bit nervous because the following day he's about to have a vasectomy operation. So carrying on with Robin's testicular theme. So he doesn't think his mates know about it, but of course they do, and they're happy to recount some tales to him about vasectomies. Paul returned with a couple of pies just as Ian Brown walked in the door. "Hey Macca," he said. They call him Macca, Peter McDonald. "Having a few to calm yourself before the big snip I see?" "Is there anyone who doesn't know about my personal business?" grumbled Peter. Not many," responded Niall. Ian patted Peter on the shoulder and then continued to bar to order his drink, while the others continued to quiz Peter on his decision. When Ian returned a short time later, he took a seat at the end of the table, between Paul and Rob, and said to a worried Peter, "Don't you worry about it, Macca. Most of us have had it done, you know. It's not such a big deal." The others all nodded in agreement, and Peter started to look a bit more relieved. Then Ian added, "Mind you, I've heard some horror stories that took to wipe the beer that Niall had spat all over him." Then said sarcastically, "Thank you, Ian. That has really put my mind at ease." Niall decided it was time to change the subject. "So, Macca, who's your tip for next pope?" he said. "I don't know," Peter replied. "Probably some thinking idiot who wants to bring back the Latin Mass." "That's not a nice way to talk about our future Holy Father." "I'd love it if we get another Pope Anthony, but his untimely demise means that the College of Cardinals is still stacked with conservative idiots. They only elected him in the first place so he could diffuse some of the scandals that were plaguing the church. Now that he's gone, they'll be chomping at the bit to take control again." I'll leave it at that.
Hello, I'm Shell. My thing is true stories. I've been reading the true stories of Tim Dunlop for a little while now. He's writing an autobiography. This is one of the short stories from it with a working title, 22. Tim tends to write about people who've had an impact in his life, and this is about a young woman named Brigitte. I'll only get halfway through it. Friday nights were open bar at the radio station where I worked as a copywriter. Employees from both mine and the rival station would meet upstairs to unwind from the working week. That's where I saw Brigitte. We didn't speak that evening, but I know she'd seen me too, because the next day she breezed into my office enveloped in a tiny pair of Kylie shorts and a clingy V-neck tee to find me. I was surprised how comfortable she was wearing almost nothing, but I wasn't complaining. She was 22, brunette and beautiful. Brigitte had just returned from Christmas Island, where she worked at a casino resort hosting foreign punters who avoided taxes and betted away fortunes. The place was edgy and exciting, just like her. Back home now, the casino life was still her scene. On any given night, she'd be playing blackjack, cards in one hand and bourbon in the other. She was wild and reckless, but she knew how to play the game, arriving home some mornings with $5,000 cash in her purse. But when I noticed her car halfway up my curb, as if parked by Mr. Bean, I knew she was not as in control as it seemed. Night after night, when the screaming and the ranting went as off the rails as her driving, I told her to shut up. And night after night, I put her to bed to sober up. She knew she had a problem. After a while, she told me she'd been to rehab for drinking. She said she drank to escape the reality of her brother's death, and it was clear that her pain was still raw. He'd been killed in a motorcycle wreck at the age she was now, 22. I had a good gig going on with my living situation. I shared a flat with a hot hostie and a cocktail with waitress. Keep in mind he's 30 at this stage, so already in my life before. But the officer on the phone told me they couldn't do anything unless the actual person makes the request. That's the law. In my gut, I was sure that Brigitte wouldn't do such a thing, but I had to make sure. I went over. Bridge, I care about you. I will always be there for you, but you have to stop drinking. If you will, I will, I promised. The talk helped. Maybe because it was more than a talk, we'd made a pact. Then, as two heavy drinkers, we did the only thing we could do that night. Got drunk and passed out. I'll stop there and cut to next time.
Lillian, is anyone else wanting to vote? Did you want to read tonight?
Haven't got anything.
Hey. Does anyone else want to read that didn't get their name on the list? Okay.
So, last month I read an excerpt from a novel that I've written that's a kind of a love story romance that I'm launching in the next couple of months when I'm trying to figure out the cover and sort of all that. But this time I'm going to read the beginning of another book that I'll be launching soon. This is something I finished writing a couple of years ago, and it's just been waiting for various reasons. But it's, I was approached by a woman who was living in Europe who's got a program called Money Mastery for Teens, so teaching financial literacy. And she'd read a novel that I've written called The Mastery Club, and she wanted me to write a novel version of her program, so to teach financial literacy through a novel for teenagers. So I did. So I'm going to read you the first chapter, and it's about 4 teenagers, and each teenager represents a different personality profile in relation to how we use the money. So, you know, some of us are good savers and some of us are good spenders and so forth. So these 4 teenagers represent the 4 styles, and the novel tracks their journey in raising money for a school trip to India, and then the trip and bits and pieces. So these are the heroes. Tony. And Tony, could you put that news on Twitter as well? Mrs. S called. I never remember how to do those hashtag thingos. Sure. Tony glanced at her watch. If she was going to make it home. Jackson. Jackson shoved the last bite of sausage into his mouth and swore when a big drip of tomato sauce landed on his shirt. Shit. Did sauce stain? Chewing fast, he took his plate to the sink and switched on the tap, leaning in toward the jet of water to direct some at the red trail next to his button. Jackson, come on, his mother called from the front door. We're running late. He swore again, rubbing furiously. They were always running late. If his mother hadn't been running late with dinner, he wouldn't have eaten so fast and spilt the sauce. He could feel his dinner going down in lumps. He'd probably end up with a stomachache tonight. I don't know why we're bothering to go, he shouted back. If you've already decided I can't do it. His mother appeared in the doorway. You haven't already decided. We just don't think that it's likely. What are you doing? He didn't answer. Some of the redness had faded, but it was still clearly there. Oh, Jackson, his mother exclaimed as he straightened up and turned around. Sauce, right? He nodded. And I suppose you've been rubbing at the front? What else are you supposed to do? Take the shirt off and run water from the back. You'd probably force the stain more deeply into the fabric now. Oh. She sighed. Never mind, that shirt was on its last legs anyway. Have you got a clean one to change into? We haven't got time. We're already late, so what's another minute or 2? Brooke. Brooke peered into the rear vision mirror to check her makeup. She'd smudged her mascara, but it kind of looked good. It kind of looked good like that. Any point finishing? We'll stop there. It's Patrick. I'll stop. Okay. Thank you. But I do have a sheet here for anyone who might want an invitation to the launch of that financial literacy novel.
Every time we clap, Oscar's like, what did I do? Does anyone have, that's it for the actual reading, so we'll leave the tickets, Kev, for door prize. Does anyone have any announcements or anything they want to share? Got anything coming up? I don't know if anyone realises, but the Book Lovers Festival is on through the Yarrapunti Regional Library. Tomorrow night, I'm going to be on a panel at Watsonia Library about publishing. There's I think 7 o'clock. I'll just get the program.
And if everyone can notice, Blaise made special Busybird cookies for everyone down here.
And they're really yummy.
Use 7 o'clock. Use 7 o'clock. Just like from there.
There was one there. I'm pretty sure at 7 o'clock at What's Only Library tomorrow night, there's a whole panel of people talking about different aspects of publishing. And then on Saturday, there's an event called Debut Day, so all people who have just been published for the first time. That goes from 11 till 3. That's at Mill Park?
Yeah.
Yep. And then at 3 o'clock, so that's from 11 to 3, so I'm going to be in two places at once. 3 o'clock here, there's a launch. I think there's other things part of the Book Lovers Festival, but I can't seem to see the program, so have a look online anyway. So I'm going to draw the door prize, so get out your tickets. This is the prize. Number 56. So, don't forget Les's launch next. No, it's not next month. When are we now? July, August, September 2nd. And Nandita is going to be launching in September as well. Mira Rising, that's going to be here, so watch out for that date. Anyone else going to be launching? Liliane's going to be launching. What's your, have you got a date?
No, I'll let you know.
Any other book launches? No? Okay. So thanks for coming. We have plenty of cake down there, tea and coffee, wine. I'm sure there's wine left. I've got more under the table if we need more. So hang around and have a chat. And if not, we'll see you next month.
One question.
Yeah.
Did Steve win the book Healthy Body so that he can work on his book?
Sorry?
After all this.
Healthy body.
Because I've already got a healthy body.
All on the Melbourne. Search.
Right.
I have a present for you. I've got to go and get that.